Hello again, Snake Soup and YouTube. It's me again, Terry Wolf, and I want to respond to a video somebody made. I don't know who yet. I haven't checked today on the forums, but somebody made a video, pretty nicely done, of splicing one of my videos with a Boyd Rice song on women and why they're not as good as men. And it was pretty funny, I have to say. And I found it interesting because, first of all, first time I'd ever heard of Boyd Rice was a little while ago when Ravi Singh, the administrator, compared my voice to him and said that I have a voice that sounds similar to that. And so I looked him up a little bit, but I forgot about it. And now, with this video, I looked into it a little bit more, and I found out that he's actually a priest in the Church of Satan, which I thought was amusing. And so I thought that was kind of funny, and I thought that for those of you who know me, my YouTube handle is Antisocial Mennonite. So it's kind of funny to compare those. So what else was there? Oh yes, forum member Julia told me to never mention her name on video, so I have to remember not to do that. Also, there was a comment that my voice was so good that I should actually consider doing audiobooks for, I guess, a living, or maybe on the side. Quite a compliment, I must say. And with that in mind, I thought there would probably be no better time than now, with this Boyd Rice Satanist song being attached to my video, and this comment, and the fact I am a Mennonite, I am a Christian, I believe the Bible. And so with that in mind, I'll give you a little sample of what it's like when I do some reading. So this is an article that I wrote analyzing some Bible verses, verses that I think are not understood well enough. And so I'm going to go through and kind of break it down and analyze it. And that's what I did in the article. So I'm just going to try reading this, and I'm not going to stop or edit it too much. I'm going to try to just let little mistakes slip by, and you know that if you were actually doing an audiobook or something, you would have to retake any screw-ups that you did. But I don't have the energy to do that, and I don't think you care that much, so I'm just going to try reading it. 2 Timothy 3 verses 1. This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves. And here we stop. Self-centric teaching is pervasive in every area of society. Even in marriage, the concept of putting someone else ahead of ourselves is considered foolish today, despite the ancient, time-tested wisdom that happiness is found by serving others and being selfless. Hence, the divorce rate skyrockets while people are confused at their misery, blaming everyone else for their dissatisfaction instead of learning from the foolishness of their path and their selfishness. Covetous. Those who are self-centered always want what others have, because they only take pleasure in their own possessions and experiences, rather than being happy for others. They have changed their perception of the world to the point where they believe that they deserve to have every good thing, and hate the fact that they don't. They think it's unfair to have less than anyone else because the concept of actually earning and appreciating is too humble for their ego to accept. Boasters. Whatever these self-loving, covetous people do possess is treated as an opportunity to boast to others rather than sharing, because they know that boasting will generate covetousness in their fellow competitors. They think it's fair because they have suffered so much jealousy by the boasting of other people. They must constantly reinforce their own fleeting vanities in order to avoid a breakdown. Proud. The fundamental belief that we are superior to others. When confronted with the possibility that we've made a mistake, it's pride which steps in to defend our actions by arguing in our favor at every turn and redirecting blame. The world loves to stoke our egos because it knows that it's the key to manipulating us into obeying their system of vain flattery and endless struggle. Pride is the most common and essential element of all modern marketing, a fact which has become so obvious and embarrassing that humanist religion has specifically used the degrading implications of atheism and evolution as a selling point. After all, who can accuse an evolutionist of being proud if they're claiming that people are nothing more than godless animals? This is how desperate they are to hide from the holy standards of God, which necessarily destroy pride far more thoroughly and profoundly than being unaccountable accidents of happenstance. Blasphemers. Those who love themselves hate God, because he reminds us that we are nothing but feeble creations who are failing to uphold his commandments. Therefore, they must attempt to ridicule, twist, and marginalize the nature and existence of God in ways that allow them to feel more comfortable. Disobedient to parents. Disobeying parents is a natural byproduct of unchecked pride, because obeying anyone is considered beneath them. Unthankful. Why should a self-centered person be thankful? They are only receiving what's rightfully theirs, and not even that is good enough. A more evocative word might be discontent. Seeing that everything fails to satisfy, they feel no obligation to be thankful. Capitalism, democracy, and evolution all implicitly teach us that people deserve whatever they get by placing the responsibility on the individual rather than the rigid powers that be. Our successes, failures, and even our conditions are supposedly within our control to some extent, and therefore questions of justice and entitlement become instantly obsolete. The individual simply must accept their failure to achieve their goals and ideals. This is also why empowerment of the individual and the notion of total freedom are so vital to maintaining a pride-based economy. If people believe they are helpless victims, or that they received something they didn't deserve, it becomes necessary to question the system which produces such injustices. Unholy. Not only lacking in holiness, but opposed to the very idea of holiness, since it disrupts their self-supporting delusions of justification and freedom. Without natural affection. Even putting aside the inclination of a self-centered person to only have natural affection for themselves, sympathy is incompatible with the mentality of the last days. The ideology outlined by evolution is so incompatible that it outrightly blames sympathy for resulting in all human weakness. Natural affection must be sacrificed in order to attain modern enlightenment, and a huge social competition is taking place to prove who can be the most uncaring towards others, mocking all tragedies as proof that unfortunate people were simply too feeble to prevent their situation from happening. They maintain that the weak die and the strong survive, regardless of the actual fact of the matter, even to the point where they will suffer tragedy themselves as stoic examples of that undeniable truth, because they are unwilling to admit that they should be vulnerable to the needs of others. Capitalist economics also preach self-interest, claiming that it is the most efficient way of solving every issue. An automatic balance of supply and demand will always, in theory, result in the perfectly self-regulating society. So, therefore, there's no need to sympathize with the poor. Both these implicit ideologies place absolute faith in the fairness of the world's systems rather than acknowledging the simple truth that we should always treat others the way we want to be treated. So I hope you like that. There's plenty more, but I don't have that much time. You have a 10-minute time limit here. So I know I don't like reading out loud. I don't think my voice is good, but since people were saying that it was, maybe it's the subject matter, maybe it's the way I wrote it. There could be all sorts of reasons why that right there wasn't interesting, but there it is for you. Snake Soup Vlog Soup, Terry Wolf. See you next time.